Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah,
For a second time this season, and I mean the all-around season, not the sixth season of the All-American Cup Series, we come to Darlington Raceway. The track too tough to tame is ready to rock and roll tonight for racing under the lights and this South Carolina jewel that was built back in the late 1940s into the 1950 season. This 1.366 mile oval is ready to showcase the best of the best here in the All-American Cup Series and see who can go to victory lane tonight in race number 9 of season number 6 of this Cup Series season. I am the captain. We welcome you in on this Friday evening, getting ready for ARCA racing here under the lights at Darlington. We got a lot of great racing to come here in just a little bit, and qualifying is just a couple minutes away. But first, let's show you the point standings as Matthew Weeks, or I should say Mark Whitley, leads the points by 11 over Casey Carrington, Zach Henry, and then Matthew Weeks. They're in the 4th position. Christopher Heller in the 5th position with Stephen Miles, Jordan Owens, Kyle Ethier, J.W. Miller, Nick Leo, your top 10 as we enter the points tonight for this regular season race. Team-wise tonight, it is 25-11. It continues to lead the points by 38 over TI. CX2 is third in points now by 40. Spirited Daytona PTP, your top 5 right now when it comes to the team points. And Rookie of the Year wise right now, I didn't get a chance to get this banner done, but according to the Discord page and the numbers that Casey Carrington works on each and every week, it appears that we have J.W. Miller leading the points by a very slight margin as of right now as we enter, again, race number 9, so 5 to go after tonight's race. In the standings, JW with a 1-point lead over Kyle Ethier, and then it's 20 points back to Drayton Cook, Sean Cassidy, and Leslie Law, so it's pretty much down to a 2-horse race, and both of those drivers on one team. So that's an interesting way of looking at things right now. Chevrolet starting to slowly pull away as they're ahead on Dodge by 13 right now. Pontiac is with 39, so they're 23 points behind. Toyota and Ford falling back slowly also, but Chevy starting to pull away in those standings. So, all right, qualifying going to begin right now, so let's get down to the track and get you ready for the crowning of the Pole Award, which, of course, is presented by MH Designs. Of course, that being Mike Husby Designs. Mike's here tonight ready to go racing on what is my favorite track, believe it or not, in all of iRacing. I love me some Darlington. And right now, Carrington on the pole in this Richard Petty throwback in the 9 car right now. Ran a 29.17. I think this should fix itself, but it didn't this time around. That's kind of weird. Get the timing and scoring up to date here, up here on the screen. Carrington still on the pole, man. Up. Mark Whitley just jumped up there. 29-23. Going to go to the pole right now. Zach Henry is in third. There we go. As there's Henry in the 39 car. Kyle Ethier and Davis Warren up there in the top 5 right now. Warren making his season debut here tonight. There's Henry rolling through turn 1. And his laps are complete as he's now P2, 29-26. Jackson Van Pelt going P5 right now. Nick Leo jumping up to P8. And here's the Mountain Dew car. Of course, you remember NASCAR back in its prime. The old Mountain Dew Southern 500. This ran on Labor Day weekend. Gets a little loose there off turn 4. Again, egg-shaped track. 24 degrees of banking. And one of the more worn-out surfaces you will see in all of racing right here as he gets all sideways down the backstretch. As that thing screams down to turn 3 and 4. Run about a half groove down off the wall. Brings it down to the bottom here and keeps it pretty straight off. Good lap here for Weeks, I think. And that won't even be as fast as probably. 29.35. He's P4. Let's see if he can one-up it here. Got a little high off turn 2. Missed the apex just a little bit. Lilith Peters, good lap. 29.34 up to third. Weeks was green coming off turn 2. He's purple here. P3, 29.30. And I could easily say that I think turn 2 cost him the pole. He missed the apex by about a foot. Oh, another good car out here qualifying. Here's the Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram car of Stephen Miles. Miles P12 here on lap 1. And he's going to call one and done. So 29.62 for Stephen Miles. So Mark Whitley's going to continue that hot pace and be on the pole. A 29.23 for the Carolina 200 as we'll go into the 5-minute warm-up session here. And let's talk, actually Whitley's, we'll see if he checks in here in a few minutes, but it'll allow us to talk about something else here. By the way, thanks to MH Designs for sponsoring the Pole Award. Make sure you check out some of the work that Mike Husby does. I've seen some throughout the Trade and Paints program and stuff like that. So obviously Mike does a fantastic job with the paints. All right, let's look at the team or the overall points. I have got it set up this week for us to see, and this is what it looks like right now. So the overall points, you take the 14 races that they ran back at Season 5, and then now the 9 races of Season 6, so 23 races basically, and you put them all together, and you slap them on the board, and that's what you got. Christopher Heller leading the points by 9 over Matthew Weeks. Casey Carrington is 35 points back in third. Stephen Miles fourth. Mark Whitley back there in fifth, but with his little hot streak he's got going on here, he might have a chance here to get caught up in the point standings. Barkuski, I don't think has he shown up at all this season for a race? If not, he's still there in sixth in points, which is impressive. Zach Henry, Tim Averill, Tyler Burden, and Nick Leo, your top 10. Wait a minute. Travis Ikavachi making a sighting? He's not even here in this race, my man. But Travis here tonight. All right. Good to see you. And then, hello, Noah. Good to see you, buddy. It's all fun and games. Ikavachi shows up, my friends. All right. So warm-up going on. I was not dumb enough to put myself on the track tonight, which is good. There's Mike Husby right there in the Number 19 kind of has a waste management design look to it, but it's Alpine graphics. Got about 2.5 minutes left. All right. I've been tempted to do it. Here we go. Let me make sure it's all set up real quick. Can the captain run a lap at Darlington? Well, I tell you, this is my favorite track. So let's see if I can do it in a Gen 4 car. Let's see if I can show you the proper way to get around Darlington. Dulcet? That's a word I haven't heard in a while. Well, here we go. So Darlington, obviously, as I mentioned, it's a 24-degree banked corner. Make sure my steering's right. Okay. Obviously, the apron down here, you want to stay down here until you get to... I can't even get off pit road. I'm spinning. We're okay. Sometimes you just go one hand on the wheel. So obviously got to be aware of wheel spin on this worn out surface. So yeah, you want to keep it down here until you get to this point right here. Then at this point, you can go on the track. Remember, during the March race here, this is where Carrington and another car wrecked there for the lead, believe it or not. So you want to get this car up here against the wall as much as you can. Don't be afraid to scrape it, especially late in the race. Already getting kind of free off. There we go. It's okay to scrape the apron right here, and then you want to almost point the car up to the wall here, back to the throttle. Oh, yeah, this thing's loose. And dead. Yeah, never mind. She's too loose. I tried. I have killed the captain car. It is fully okay. Anyways, I'll virtually show you guys to another car. How's that? This is what happens when you do not drive this car hardly ever. So here we go. So let's watch Zach Henry. So down the backstretch, as I was just trying to show you, you go down to turn 3, and this is how you go to pit road. You got to come all the way down to the bottom of the track. And there you see the cone, but the wall's over here. So that's going to be something to talk about tonight. The pit stops during this race. Let's go with Justin right here. Down the back straightaway. So here you want to brake about there. You want to let the car enter bottom and then slide up. Which Justin's going to run the bottom here. Nothing wrong with that. But obviously the faster way around is going to be the top side. Got to be aware. You got a little free loose off right there. Down the front straightaway. You come to turn 1 here. You want to clip this apron. And then bring it right up to the outside wall. Be careful on throttle. Back off throttle. Apex turn 2. Bring it back to the outside wall. See, I can't even explain a lap without somebody wrecking. As I said, this is another view of somebody. Craig Martin just wrecked. Somebody not want to wreck? What's the case in point here, guys? Darlington is Darlington. It's Friday the 13th, and we're racing at Darlington. That's all I can say. Take a look at the starting lineup here. 20 cars going to start tonight. One of the smaller fields, unfortunately, in the series this season. But Whitley will start on the pole. Zach Henry there on the outside of row number 1. Matthew Weeks and the debuting Lilith Peters for season 6. We'll start that Jimmy Johnson throwback there in 4th. Casey Carrington, Kyle Ethier, row number 3. Jackson Van Pelt running a Busch Beer throwback in the 7th position alongside Nick Leo. Justin Ray and Davis Warren. Davis making his season debut in the 10th position. Sean Cassidy, Stephen Miles there in row number 11. Row 12 is where you'll see, or row 12, what? Row 6, row 7, Craig Martin and Mike Husby. My head is not here right now. J.W. Miller, Nick Terrell in row 8. Row 9, Shane Gentry and Corolla Steele. Row 10, Josh Dillon and Kyle Hall to make up the 20 cars that are about to go green. It's one of those deals where, like, I'm totally thinking about how I just wrecked, and I'm kind of embarrassed, to be honest with you. Cars will roll off and get ready for 147 laps and 200 miles of racing under the lights here at Darlington. 75 degrees ambient, 76 track temperature. That'll obviously go down a little bit here tonight. 40% humidity. Cloudy skies, 3-mile-an-hour winds. And already a Darlington stripe. Did anybody just catch that? Nick Leo got a Darlington stripe before the race has even started. Right there. Put that one in the record books for anybody who's counting. All right, pace car going to hang a left here. And remember, unlike the spring race, there is no restart zone. So he can go whenever he wants. But, and I actually remembered this last week, did not remember it this week. We get the extra lap. Under caution here, as usual. No, I'm doing well, Travis. Appreciate it, man. Obviously, closer to you again, buddy. Corolla Steel did not grid, so I'm not sure what's going on with the 01 car. We'll have to check on that. So 19 cars right now ready to go for, again, 147 laps around this 1.366 mile track. And the good news about those clouds, as the sun goes down, we've passed that phase. Well, let's go on board here, Kyle Ethier, for a second. If it went for these clouds, the sun would be right in his eyes right now. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. Mark Whitley, the hottest driver on the circuit. Zach Henry, outside lane, going to take him to the green at the track. Too tough to tame, even on iRacing. Friday the 13th at Darlington. That's a mix. Green flag. Henry gets a pretty good start outside lane, and it's going to clear for the lead. Power move. As Henry leads lap number 1. Whitley, Weeks, Carrington, and Peters, your top 5. All about racing this racetrack early in this race. Let the race come to you, basically, here. You still got plenty of laps. You can ruin this race. Got to be careful. All right, coming off to complete lap number 3. So everybody pretty much single file, just kind of biding their time, letting this race come to them. You know, we did have, one car in the inside wall. Kyle Hall is spun over in turn 1. Oh, and now he gets hit by the 38 of Justin Ray. No caution still, as he's now at the bottom of the track. Justin Ray with heavy damage. That car's destroyed. And we stay green because nobody was on the track. You can see all the cars getting sideways and stuff through the corners as these tires wear out. Kyle Hall, the pit road also. So tough break for the 38 and the 87. Let's see what happened to Kyle. Looked like he maybe clipped the outside wall, and it sent him sideways, and instead of him, nice miss there. Oh, that wasn't a good miss. And then Hall, instead of spinning back up into the field, spun to the bottom, but he got ricocheted up, and then Justin Ray, the victim of Kyle trying to take back off, unfortunately. Shane Gentry, that was the car that missed him. Where right here, it's like he saw him going right, and he turned it back left. Bam. So it looks like Justin Ray's night going to be over. Unfortunately, before it even began almost. Harrington doing a good job here following with Whitley there as Matthew Weeks, who's worked his way to second, trying to put some pressure on this 39 car. Henry was leading this race earlier this season. Unfortunately, got taken out in some argy-bargy with other cars off of turn 2. That was like Calamity Corner, it seemed like, that night. See the different ways that they're running this corner. I mean, turn 2 is so tricky. This is the old, if you were a fan back in the 90s, you remember Days of Thunder, obviously. You remember the line, don't go to the outside in turn 4. The turn 4 in that movie, which at the time was turn 4, is now turn 2. So this was the corner where old Harry Hyde told Cole, you can go to the outside of turn 4. You have the special set of tires. "11 laps complete as Zach Henry continues to lead. Should be a 2-stop race for the most part. Actually, let me back that up. Let me do the math again here. 41. Actually, it'd be a 3-stop race. 41 on a tank of fuel with the percentages. Obviously, 41.82, 123. And Matthew all over the back of Henry now. You wonder if the 39 might just let him go. So back here, Davis Warren, Sean Cassidy, Stephen Miles, Mike Husby. This is 9th through 12th. Davis running a Martinsville Speedway paint. Up front, here we go. Weeks got the run down the straightaway here. See if they go side by side into turn 1. They will go side by side into turn 1. And you see what that did? It brought Whitley into the picture. This is a track of momentum. If you go side by side into a corner like turn 1 especially, you're going to open the door for that 3rd place car to get this monster run through the corner and off the straightaway, and could even see him do a 3-wide move, especially right there in turn 2 also. As you see Carrington now coming into the picture. Back to this battle here for a second. Now here's Cassidy Warren kind of scraping the outside wall there a little bit. Got to be careful. This car does stick to the wall like flypaper. And there's an example. Side by side into turn one, all four of those cars just lost momentum. Up front, Weeks to the front. See, finally cleared Zach Henry. Let's go back and see the pass, the final product. And that was it right there. As Weeks cleared him off turn two. Henry tried to cross back to get back to him, but unable to do it. So Matthew Weeks becoming the second leader, I believe, of the night. Well, Henry's not letting him go. Let's go back here to seventh as Kyle Ethier making a move inside of the 07 of Jackson Van Pelt. And that's a pretty good pass right there. Got to his quarter panel. Jackson yielded to turn to him and gave him the pass, but Kyle did take it kind of shallow in turn two there. That's the different strategies of Darlington right there. You have to race this racetrack. If you're going to be fast at the end of this race, you've got to have all four quarter panels on this car. And you got to keep it clean. You got to stay focused the whole entire time. There's no lapse of the brain or anything that you can't do it. Can't have anyone distracting you. It's very tough. I'll see what I can do for you, Steve. How about that? Does that work? Oh, we're getting a little free there. Oh, Nick Leo up the track. Going to lose a couple spots. Oh, that's a scraped up right side. Oh, and all of a sudden it's gone. What in the world? Deanna Warren watching the race. I assume related to Davis in some little way, shape, or form. Davis running the Martinsville paint scheme. Not sure if that's where he works or if something of that sort. Tickets are on sale for the penultimate NASCAR race weekend, where somebody will have to find another way to win to get into the championship four other than the outside wall. At 24 laps in already, still clean and green. Other than the one wreck on the inside of turn one, but no cautions. Everybody kept it off the wall. As Miles outside of Van Pelt, who's had that thing all dancing and juking and jiving. So Jackson having some trouble right now in that 07 car. Might have burnt the wheels off this thing a little bit. So the question I have for you watching, you guys watch, as I talked about earlier, about 41 laps on a tank of fuel. Yeah, I assume you're taking tires at every stop here. You know, I'm trying to do the numbers in my head with the sets of tires and that kind of thing. You should be okay with 3 sets of tires. I just want to make sure that if you do get an overtime later in this race, you have a set of tires waiting for you. Because I'm always one of those drivers, myself, when I'm racing, I always want to make sure I have a set of tires at the end of this race. The worst feeling for me personally is getting a caution and being like, all right, well, I guess I got what I got. Ooh, into the wall goes Jackson pretty hard. That's a big stripe. Hey, while we're watching all this go on, Mark Whitley's moved to second, past Zach Henry, so Henry might have hurt his tires a little bit. Let's actually go back and watch that pass. Oh, yeah, there's what happened. Henry got loose, opened the door up for Whitley, almost killed his momentum. Good catch by the 39 there. Good pass by the 77. We move on. As Van Pelt continues to have the struggle bus out. So he falls back into clutches of Nick Leo there, who spontaneously does not have damage all of a sudden on the right side of his car. And then the 12 of Josh Dillon. I'll say this, the 07's fighting for as much he's had to fight the handling of this car. He's doing the best he can. He yields positions to the 11 and 12, so unfortunately Van Pelt is free falling through the field here. The best news of them all is he's got about 5 seconds back to the next car, and he's going to go ahead and fight Josh Dillon back for 11th here. Josh should be able to clear him off 4. Yeah. And let the pit stops begin early. J.W. Miller on pit road. So the 6 car in at lap 30. So he is planning on a 4-stopper, I'm guessing here. More tires and fuel, and he pulls away. So JW joins back on track, and he is just past 2 laps down. So you can do 44, you think, Brantley? So 44, let's break that up. 44.88, 122. I was more just the strategy of JW's here, pitting at 30. So let's put the 44 in there. 30, 44 is 74. That's 108. And that gets him to the finish. So, maybe he just went to the early window here. Here comes Miles inside of his teammate. And passes Kyle Ethier for a position. I can tell you right now, Miles did a lot of researching today. Him and I talked for a minute, and I told him what a little bit I knew about this track and the experiences I had, and he was watching this race actually from the spring. As Miller unlaps himself and gets back to 1 lap down, there's your fresh tires for you. He's going to drive away. Or tried to, as he almost had the wall off too. And I think Mark Whitley was pretty impressed with what he just saw. And he comes to pit road at 36. So the spotter of the guy that says, oh, we can go 44, Cap. They pit at 36. Davis Warren on pit road. So 4 tires and fuel for these guys. Casey Carrington now on pit road with Lilith Peters also. Sean Cassidy, Jackson Van Pelt, and others. I got a hack on you a little bit there, buddy. Hence the mockery voice of mine, or whatever you want to call that voice. I don't know how Carrington worked that one out. Enters shallow in his pit stall so that Lilith could get to his stall. 4 tires and fuel for the 9. He pulls away to 14.7. Something tells me Casey's one of those people that has like a piece of paper on his dashboard of his computer desk or whatever that has like who's on what pit boxes around him. Kyle Ether and Craig Martin on pit road. Oh, Ether a little overshooting. Mike Husby, Nick Leo on pit road. Craig Martin is in. Matthew Weeks staying out still. Zach Henry there. And Stephen Miles, Josh Dillon. Looks like those 4 are the only 4 that have not pitted yet in this race. And I think Matthew Weeks has said he's pitting, so we'll see him next time by. Stephen Miles is in right now. .45-mile-an-hour speed limit all the way down this pit road. Zach Henry on pit road, and I did not see... So Weeks is on pit road. I was going to say, did Weeks not pit? It's just not showing the pit word on his name as the top 2 are in. So this should give Whitley the lead with the undercut. Josh Dillon leads. And he is slowing up right now over in turn 3. Yeah, Whitley is going to almost have a half a straightaway here on Matthew Weeks before they even get to the track. That shows you the difference right here in tires. Oh, and into the walls, the 92 of Lilith Peters. Look out, Weeks. Yeah, it's going to be about a quarter track or so between the top 2. I should say first back to about 4th, because Casey Carrington and Lilith Peters are now between Weeks and the leader. All right, so first round of pit stops over, and there's the hottest driver in this circuit right now, Mark Whitley, who is pretty much all but one whoopsies in the Carousel at Watkins Glen away from 7 wins in a row. Leads this race. Casey Carrington 2nd. Lilith Peters 3rd. Matthew Weeks 4th. Zach Henry now 5th. Davis Warren 6th. J.W. Miller 7th. Mike Husby 8th. Stephen Miles and Kyle Ethier the top 10. What we got to keep an eye on now is all the different pit strategies, because that'll determine who's faster than who here, as Matthew Weeks is going to pass Lilith Peters here for third. And then they'll give us a good opportunity to see now when is too late to pit in that run. Because, like, for instance, here, Whitley pitted at lap number 36. Matthew Weeks at 41. So a 5-lap difference. How much difference is... Uh-oh, Mike Husby's in trouble. Inside wall over here, turn 2. But, again, not in the middle of the track, so no caution. So what I was starting to say, though, is how much can Matthew Weeks make up in a 5-lap separation of tires? I think Whitley might have actually made a pretty big move here in that jumping off pit road. I mean, because Weeks really hasn't made up much time at all. And even then, I see a Darlington stripe on the right side of his car now. Here comes Henry into 39. Peter's going to give him the top side here and let him go. So there's the guy with the oldest tires in the whole field. There, J.W. Miller just losing a spot to Nick Leo. That's for 10th. So what I'm seeing here so far, I mean, Weeks has made up a little bit of time now up to the lead. It almost looks like to me, if you're going to challenge for this race, it's going to turn into a monkey see, monkey do type of race. As soon as one car comes to pit road, you almost got to be right behind them. All right, so 50 laps complete. And it's Carolina 200, round number 9 of the All-American Cup Series here from Darlington Raceway, virtually on iRacing. Which I did some thinking today, as I was kind of getting myself hyped up for the race, as I always do. On Fridays, I'm out there working, like, man, I'm ready to go here on a Friday night, and I couldn't help but think to myself, have we ever raced a race on a Friday the 13th in this series? And I was like, you know what? I want to wait to during this broadcast, and I want to do the research and actually see exactly when, if it has happened with everyone else. So I'm going to go through the calendar here. As you see, Davis Warren leads Stephen Miles. And of course, tonight being the first, or at least one of, let's go see as we go to season 5. And there were none there. Let's go to season 4. Miles doing a good job chasing down to 70. None there. Season 3. I think we might have our first. As Miles getting into the inside of Davis here, so That one car coming to life here on this long run. He was one of the last cars to come to pit road. Davis fighting him. So Friday the 13th, 3 times now. This is the 3rd time that a race has happened on the 13th date of a month on a Friday. First time was back in season 1 in 2021, and that was at the Iowa Speedway. Friday, August 13th, that night happened. And in season 3 was the second one. And that was the final race of the season at the Atlanta Motor Speedway on May 13th, 2022. And of course, tonight being the 3rd. Now, if I can throw a little creep into all of this. Oh, and that's Darlington stripe for Davis. That'll get Kyle Ethier by. The winner of the other 2 races on Friday the 13th haven't been seen in this league since then. So Whitley coming up on the back of J.W. Miller. So Miller, a bold tire strategy here. And you wonder if he's going to come to pit road here quickly, because he's coming up on 60 right now, which would be the 30th lap from when he pitted. But Whitley's going to get to his inside and lap the 6 car. So Casey Carrington second, and look at this. Matthew Weeks has got it down to 3 seconds now. And pitting at 41, this is 19 laps. So does Made. As Husby gets out of the way. Weeks has still got about 2.5 seconds to get to Whitley. So it has taken nearly 3/4 of a run to make up the 5 laps difference on fuel and tires. So I think that should answer everyone's questions right there. That the window is a very tight one and I think Mark Whitley's probably taking notes now, or Brantley is. If Casey Carrington were to come to pit road here any minute, or Weeks, I think you'd have to almost turn around and say, all right, I'm coming behind him. So that's interesting how that's going to work out. Josh Dillon making a pass on Sean Cassidy as you see the 26 of Gentry off pit road. As Warren and Ethier continue to battle back here for the 7th position. Davis getting tight there in the corner. Weeks has caught Carrington. This is going to be the battle for a second. And Casey's going to give it to Matthew here down the front straightaway. The old traditional Darlington pass here he used to see back in the heyday. Let's put the lap times up here and see what everybody's running. 31:21 for Whitley that time around. Weeks of 31:03, and then Carrington a 40. An 03 for Henry, who pitted at the same lap as Weeks. Zach about 2 seconds back right now from these two drivers here. Oh, look at that. Weeks gets out in that clean air, 30.94, 0.3 of a second faster, but still 1.3 seconds. I mean, it's going to take about 4 laps to get to them, so you're looking at a good 30 laps. I mean, they're almost getting ready to come to pit road for the second time, and Weeks is just getting back to Whitley. So if that explains anything to those watching right now, the call that Brantley and Mark made was pretty good. Worked out for them. .26 diving low here, letting the leaders in Nick Terrell there in that 81 go by. Nick running in the 15th position right now. And Weeks is there on the 77. Ooh, this is going to be tricky. They're going to catch him in a bad spot. Oh, that almost got bad. Terrell said that he was going to get down, but just the way the angle Terrell had going out of that corner, I'm like, uh-oh. And they had to check up. That's why I was trying to show you guys in the video why you want to get up here next to this wall so you can apex the turn 2 part right here. If you go too low into that corner and there's somebody on your outside, you're going to slide up and hit them. Or you're going to go up there and do what Terrell about this. And Zach Henry just did it, hit the outside wall. As here comes the 11 for the lead. Each other into the wall. Weeks and Whitley into the wall. And now Whitley's destroyed. So Carrington go to the lead now. That is a tough situation. And again, just turn 1. Whitley's probably going to look at this and say, I probably should have gave him that going into the corner, not. And I say going into the corner, I mean on the straightaway part. Let's watch this again. Because Whitley did cue the mic afterwards and said, I was trying to give it to you. I think he might have waited a little bit too long. So if you come down the straightaway here, I mean, if you're Whitley, you can almost get out of the throttle right here mid-straightaway. And and he's got it going into the corner, but instead they're still side by side, and there was actually net code too. That doesn't help things. There's been bad net code this week, I've noticed. And Mark Whitley's actually on pit road. Oh, yeah. Now, would they have hit? Maybe. Lilith Peters on pit road. And there's Whitley in. Unfortunately, going to get this damage fixed. And his unfortunate 1 week streak of being up there at the top of the points going to hit him here. He'll probably fall back into points unless Carrington has a rough finish here. We'll have to keep an eye on where everybody's running here. Stephen Miles to pit road. Nick Leo coming in. The leaders all coming at lap 76 here. Carrington pulls away, 15.1. Whitley is back on track, by the way, and unfortunately 2.5, almost 3 laps down. Weeks is still out there leading. I see, obviously, the right front damage, so the car's not driving 100%. Just trying to see if that right front's towed out or... Zach Henry running second, 1.8 seconds back, and then Carrington in third. All right, Weeks is going to come to pit road here. More tires and fuel and 14.4. So if there's any damage to fix on Weeks' car, which I expect there's some, it would be optional damage only. So Zach Henry still leads, has to come to pit road, and here he comes right now in the 39 car. And this is going to scrabble up the field here at lap number 80. Once everything cycles back around, it'll be the 9 car back up front. How weird this sounds. It might be the perfect paint scheme for a race at Darlington. You got the old number 9, which of course Bill Elliott won his share of races here. And I think Casey Kane fans can think of how many times he should have won here. Of course, he had that truck win where the Hamiltons got together on that one Friday night. Oh, Terrell hard into the wall. And then, of course, Chase got the Xfinity win here back in 14. All right, let's go through the field here and show you where everybody's running right now in this race. As Carrington with a pretty big lead here. He can almost back off a little bit, which is easier said than done. But Carrington 9 seconds right now over Matthew Weeks, who's all the way over in turn 2. He just got past the Lilith Peters car. Lilith in the Altel 92 car running in the third position. Stephen Miles in fourth, 12 seconds back. One of the cars that's not really damaged yet. Doing a good job of minding his own business. There's Zach Henry in the 39 car, fifth position for him. 14 seconds back now from the leader. And this is just past the halfway point in this race. As Kyle Ether running in the sixth position with his best friend there behind him. I say this because these two have been racing each other, I think, the whole race. I mentioned Davis Warren there in seventh. Eighth place, Nick Leo here in the Jewel number 69 car. 23 seconds back from the leader. In the ninth position, Josh Dillon. Josh is 27 seconds back in the 12 car. And then Jackson Van Pelt, last car in the lead lap. Casey trying to time his pass, and Van Pelt's trying to hold on to the lead lap here. J.W. Miller, the first one a lap down in the sixth car right now. Let's jump up here to fifth because Zach Henry just passed Stephen Miles. Fourth and fifth positions. Just wanted to share that real quick. Mark Whitley in the 12th position now. Mark is about a lap and a third or so down. And he's got about 2 seconds on Mike Husby, who is 13th now. And then Sean Cassidy back here, the 49 car, running in the 14th position. Craig Martin running right here behind the leader is 2 laps down in the 15th position. Nick Terrell in the bag of chips, number 81, running in the 16th position. Shane Gentry is off the track. Justin Ray and Kyle Hall also off the track, having issues earlier in this race. And here we go again. It's worth anything. Matthew Weeks has caught. He has knocked off some seconds on Carrington. It's down to 5.8. We got a good run there, Davis said, and Ether's going to protect the bottom. Good center. And I think Ether said, dude, you can have it. So let's see if Warren can get away from him, or is Leo just going to tow behind him? Or Leo, sorry. Ether going to tow behind. 92 laps in. $55 laps to go. Still got one stop to go in this race. Carrington out here in the clean air now. So this race originally was supposed to be a race at Richmond. But as you know, the actual Petit Le Mans race is going on tomorrow in my old home of Georgia, right down the road from where I used to live. And, well, our admin is down at that race for the weekend. And so they made the switch and decided to bring Darlington up here and run the Richmond race on November 10th. So the now penultimate race of the season will be the 200 lapper at Richmond. After tonight, we go to Talladega Super Speedway next Friday night, Kansas Speedway, Phoenix, Richmond, Homestead for the final 6 races on the season. So Deanna, look down at, on YouTube, I assume you're watching, look down at the red bar and make sure you're live. So I just noticed when you posted that message, I'm like, wait, that pass happened like 10 minutes ago. So I want to make sure you're like not behind on purpose or something, just in case. As Husby to the outside of the now wounded car, the 77 for 12th, and Whitley's going to let him and Terrell go by. And for the record, just put it out there, Whitley did cue the mic back up a few laps ago and did say again, hey, he apologizes. So he apologized to Weeks for the move he made and so on and so forth. So credit to Mark for the situation or whatnot. So just a tough situation. It's Darlington Racing. It's like the one track that something like that can happen. I mean, it technically can happen at any track, but when you have a track this small of a window of cars going through one corner, it just, I mean, side by side can happen and contact can happen. So it's just the way it goes. So back here and look at Josh Dillon in the 12 car. Running the old Dodge paint, has gone away from the Surge paint. I think he did that about a week or two ago. He's trying to hold his teammate off back there. He's trying to lap him. Did Casey drop a hot pocket off 4 or something? What happened there? All right, Lilith Peters on pit road a little early here. Not sure you can do 47 on fuel. J.W. Miller on pit road. I mean, if they can do 46 laps, then good for them. They'll be on the early end of this pit cycle. What they don't want is obviously a yellow coming out. And I think Lilith has sped on pit road, unfortunately, because he is sitting there way too long. As here comes Nick Leo going to battle with Ethier for the 6th position. Oh, and Ethier into the wall. Again, that might have been one of those moves where Kyle, probably right there on the track, could have let Nick go, and they would have been single file coming out of 2. But, I mean, again, I say all this, and I'm just sitting here Monday morning quarterbacking almost, if you will. But that's just what I'm doing, is seeing the race, how I've watched it be done so many times. I've watched so many Darlington races on TV that, you know, it's like I've almost seen a certain particular position of the track where one car is one way and another's another, and how the result has happened. And I've almost put all those in my mind to where I can go out there on the track and say, all right, this car is here at the moment. He's trying to and figure out maybe the right move or what to do. It's helped me at times. It's hurt me at times. So Carrington 4.1 up on Matthew Weeks. There is Matthew. Still putting together a heck of a run for a car that got some pretty heavy damage from contact. And I think Kyle Ether just called it. He's going to be coming to pit road here, so look for the 60 to be in. And here he comes. Bring Shane Gentry there with him in the 26 car. And this will be the final round of pit stops, at least under green. Four tires and fuel for the 60 car, and he'll pull away, I think. Maybe he has some damage to get fixed there, not sure. Or sped on pit road. We'll have to keep an eye on that. As he sits there in his pit stall now, so unfortunate break there. So there's Van Pelt, still the first car lap down. Yeah, plenty of room before he gets to Mike Husby. So Jackson just waiting to see if he can get a yellow to get back on the lead lap. The problem, though, is the 9 is catching Josh Dillon right up ahead there. Ethier finally leaving the pits here. So if that's going to benefit anybody in this run, it's going to be the 70 car, because now Davis Warren don't have to worry about him anymore. Sean Cassidy and 49 and Whitley coming to pit road here for the final time. $36 laps to go. Again, next week, Talladega Super Speedways. We'll have 6 races to go on the schedule, or make that 5 if I can learn how to count. There's Davis Warren on pit road. And did he overshoot his stall? And no, he got in there. Nice. And of course, we'll be here at 8:45 next week for that one. here comes... Oh, I thought I saw Zach Henry on pit road. Never mind. Nick Leo is the 9 I saw on pit road, and that's the 69 in Nick Leo. And here comes the leader. As Carrington took over back when Whitley and Weeks got together in turn 1. Carrington trying to take advantage and go to victory lane. Stephen Miles on pit road in the 1. So these are all the final pit stops here. 32 laps to go. Josh Dillon also coming in. But let's follow the Miles stop as he pulls away. I got him at a 14.7, so good stop. As I mentioned, Josh Dillon on pit road now. As 12 pulls away, good stop on his part. And here comes Matthew Weeks to pit road, the 11. Should be 4 tires and fuel for him. Zach Henry now on pit road, so all the leaders in. Weeks has done a fantastic job with keeping that car minimalized damage-wise and having it running up here in the front still. Yeah, 14.6 there for Henry as Carrington's already gone by. His lead is pretty huge now, 16. I mean, he's got a full straightaway pretty much. And there goes Miles, going to fly by for second. Weeks almost got the outside wall there. Actually, he might have. I just caught that out of the corner of my eye as he had to hang a left there to keep off the outside wall. Stephen Miles moves to second, and all of a sudden we've got a 3-car battle. Now with 28 to go, there's no more of the whole give it and take, and you're racing for it now. Yeah, I guess you could still kind of give some room, but just be aware when you get later into this race, you're not going to get the same room back that you might have given. Weeks putting that pressure on. You wonder how much that car is acting different. But it looks like he's going to make the pass pretty clean here on Miles, who There's the tough spot right there. Did a good job of maintaining his line there and allowing Henry to go by for second, or Weeks for second, and Henry for third. And he's got a good 9 seconds back to Davis Warren in the 5th position there. So, you know, if somebody goes out here and makes a mistake, you know, we're looking at a Darlington race here potentially with a majority of a major free race, or a major issue free race. Of course, the biggest issue happening back with the leaders with Weeks and Whitley, as Whitley was looking to get another win. He and Weeks got together in turn 1, into the wall, both of them went. And Carrington's led ever since here, 24 laps to go. None of the wrecks tonight have been in a spot on the track, or has a car been sideways enough that has inherited a caution. So that's why, for those watching, it's like, why didn't a yellow come out for that stuff? That's basically the main reasons. Now, there are leagues out there that will throw a yellow in that situation. A lot of leagues that do not, and that's obviously a matter of opinion on that one. You know, some leagues will never throw a yellow like that because they feel that it could determine a race in the end. And of course, you'll get people that maybe will argue, oh, that shouldn't have been a caution, yada, yada, that kind of thing. As Zach Henry and Weeks battle for second into turn 1. Both of them getting kind of free off too. You know, I just noticed this. Christopher Heller's not here tonight, and I look up here in chat, and Patty was saying hi and go 25-11, so I wonder if Chris got caught up at work or something tonight. But, I mean, I was thinking of the guys that normally run in this series that are here. You got no Heller, you've got, let's see, who else has normally been here? None of the PTP cars, so no Drayton Cook or Tim Abril. That's 3, so that's an unfortunate deal. Tyler Burden not here tonight. Sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. We're at 20 laps to go. And inside comes Henry again to battle for second. Now, these guys have been about 0.4 to a half second faster as Henry clears for second than the leader. I think they're going to be too far back here at the end. But would that not be a major development here? Stephen Miles fourth. There's Davis Warren in the 5th position doing a fantastic job. 30 seconds back now as we have 5 cars on the lead lap. And there you see Casey is stalking the 70 car right there behind him. Miller going past Leo for position, so a lot of these cars pretty spread out now. But Henry has knocked off another half second or so here in the last little bit. Actually, more than a half second. You see it's down to 13 seconds now. I mean, obviously at this point, he would have to give up, Carrington would have to give up like a second, just shy of a second and a third. As Henry's in the outside wall, so Zach is giving it every piece of effort he can to get to Casey, even though it's 12 seconds. Which sometimes in a race car driver, the only percentage they know how to do is 100. You know, you try to go 75 and all of a sudden you're hitting a wall or messing up or something. I'll have to say it's a little too high off two there. Davis Warren has gone a lap down now. It leaves 4 cars on the lead lap, and I think Stephen Miles is going to be pretty safe unless something major happens, as he's still a good 12 to 13 seconds ahead of the leader. I can only imagine how these guys' arms are feeling. 100 and potentially 47 laps of green flag racing. On a track that's unpredictable and you just never know what your car is going to do on each lap. So it's interesting, if you go back and watch some of the videos of it's a battle for fifth, by the way, old Darlington races from the 1950s, back when like 80 cars would start. Oh, they're going to put each other in a wall. Leo slid up there and wasn't quite clear of the 70 and walled him. Sure, Davis took him behind. He walls himself. But the couple interesting things I caught out of that was, one, the track wasn't exactly 1.366 miles back then. It was actually, I'd have to go look it up again, but it was like 1.25 or something like that. So obviously with some of the configuration changes or whatever, changed up the track size. And then 2, pit road. Back then, there was no pit lane. Like, literally, they would come off turn 4 right here. They would move to the bottom of the track, and pit stops would happen right on that inside wall right there. Like, pit road was literally, I mean, if somebody spun off turn 4, they were heading right for the pits. Thankfully, at that time, they really weren't going fast enough, I think, to hit anything down there. back in the 50s or so, where you go back and you watch the video of Richard Petty when he hits that wall in 1970 on the back stretch that ended up being the invention of the window net. And if you have not seen that video, if you're one that has a weak stomach, I wouldn't watch it. Because, I mean, you literally can see Petty's arm and everything just flying in the wind out there without the window net. And not to mention that wall took a lick that night, or that day. Of course, back in the 50s and 60s also, almost every other wreck, somebody went over the barriers into the outside the track. Of course, the more notorious videos, the Cale Yarborough one in 3 and 4, I think. It might actually been 1 and 2 where he flies over the fence and the guy's got the sign on pit road saying Cale's okay. Davis trying to get the pressure on the 69 car, but you wonder how much his right side got hurt by that wall smack. Carrington's still leading by 11 seconds over Henry, so this is the best battle on the track, so we'll watch. Nick doing a good job running a defensive line here. Davis just trying everything he can to get to him here. Running pretty smoothly, I'll say, too. You don't see his car really getting out of shape or anything. 3 to go. Davis did not get that corner good at all. Nick looks like did not get off the corner very well, so let's see if they can. Davis needs to get that car down on the white line right here. A lot better entry there, it looks like. And you can see how he stuck with him that time. Apex here. Leo gets loose. That's going to open the door here. As Casey Carrington going to get to the white flag next time by. And Carrington takes the white flag, final lap. Oh, Davis going way to the bottom. Oh, I think he got loose there. We'll come back to this battle for the finish, but off of turn number 4, a Richard Petty paint with a Bill Elliott number. Casey Carrington wins at Darlington in the Carolina 200. And back to the show back here. And actually, oh, and there you go. They actually already they crossed the line behind Casey, so they're finished. It's funny, I asked Casey before the race, I'm like, what's up with the Petty scheme? He's like, well, I mean, you can't run a throwback without the throwback of all throwbacks. Fair enough. As he does listen to my English. As he does the old Polish victory lap, let's take a look at the final results here from Darlington. As Carrington leads it or wins it by 10 seconds over Zach Henry, Matthew Weeks, and Stephen Miles, the 4 cars on the lead lap. Nick Leo and Davis Warren finished 5th and 6th. Not sure. I'm pretty sure Davis wasn't too thrilled about Leo walling him there and won. So that could have been a congratulatory hit, but that could have been a hey, I'm not too thrilled with you hit. Josh Dillon finishing 7th, Jackson Van Pelt 8th, Mike Husby finishes 9th, so a good night for CX2. Cassidy finishing 10th, Mark Whitley battles back to 11th with JW 12th, Craig Martin 13th, Kyle Ethier 14th with Nick Terrell 15th, Shane Gentry 16th, Lilith Peters, Kyle Hall finishing in the 18th position. Looks like he and Justin Ray ran the same amount of laps, so we'll have to let them determine who finished 18th and 19th in the deal. As for Corolla Steel, as I've started to come up with jokes of like when people don't start the race, where they ended up. As I've learned from listening to my times to DBC, which is Door Bumper Clear, the Dale Jr. podcast that's hosted by his spotters, I think it is Brett Griffin who is from this area. It says, you never want to speed in Mac B. So I'm going to say that Corolla Steel was caught speeding in Mac B. So there we go. As Carrington finishes his show for the fans. As Matthew Weeks hangs out, I should say, up here in the channel after a third place finish for Matt. And of course, I was hearing the conversations and stuff going on throughout the race, and obviously totally okay to be upset with what happened there. And I know that it's got a sting when something like that happens that is kind of out of your control. And obviously it sounds like Mark did not mean at all to do what he did, just made a bad decision, it sounds like. But either way, man, you still come out with a third place finish on a tough race.
Yeah, it stings more when you love this track and it's your best track, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wanted it, dude. It's always one of those tracks. Man, I'm just always fast, race winning car, and just something always happens, man. And it's all good. Like, I apologize to Mark. I said I asked, I needed more room, but I just didn't say another word. I was mad, but it is what it is, man. It's racing.
Absolutely. So you guys have ran a season now on this Gen 4 car on this track, and then you ran the ARCA car, obviously, a couple of seasons. So what's, outside of horsepower, is there anything different about the two cars on this track?
The horsepower and way more throttle control. Like, man, you're driving this car with so much throttle through the corners. It's insane. And the ARCA car wasn't like that. It was just, lift a little bit, then just slam on the gas and you just go. So, it's totally different than the ARCA car, man. But I love it. And this Gen 4 is just so fun, especially to rip around this track. It's a blast.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a lot of fun to do. So, obviously, a good points night. I know Casey's going to likely take the points lead back here, so I'm sure that part hurts a little bit. But you're still right there in the running, so it's got to be a little bit of a good to a bad situation finishing third.
Yeah, I just go back like Charlotte, man. I feel like I could have won that race and another one. And this one, dude, I knew coming tonight when I looked at the track, it's like, okay, this is where I need to turn it around. I need to go out, lead the most laps, and win the race just to turn around these points and try to really contend. And Casey was there at the right spot, right time, man. I know he says it fell into his lap, but a win is a win, dude. Shout out to Casey on that one.
It is, and we do get to go play in a little bit of your backyard, we'll call it, Talladega next week, so that's something to smile about. You know how to win on super speedways and run well up there, so looking forward to seeing that next week and send some shout-outs.
Yeah, man, I'm ready for some plate racing. It's been a while. I love that. Shout out to JD Designs on this beautiful Mountain Dew scheme, man. I've run it for so long now. I love it. You, Chris, I tell you every week, dude, you do a great job by yourself, man. I love your streams. And Casey that does this, probably my second favorite league besides my main one. I love running these two leagues, and everyone over at Pro Edge that tunes in and watches me race and gives me some tips and stuff. Shout out to those guys and everyone watching and everyone else, man. It was a fun race. I'm disappointed, but it is what it is.
It's okay to be disappointed finishing third. So, congratulations on that finish at least. And yeah, we'll see you at Talladega next week, bud.
Oh yeah, man. We're gonna try to bring it home, hopefully.
Attaboy. All right, man. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, man. You do the same.
Yes, sir. As Matthew Weeks finishes third, and he'll go celebrate and have a good old weekend himself there, and bring up Zach Henry in the 2511 team. Tonight there, obviously, Zach, a interesting night, as once again you kind of maintained a car that was about top 3 fastest and brought it home exactly where it ran.
That seems to be what I'm doing a lot this season, ain't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, that wins you championship sometimes.
Hey, that's true. I don't know that I'll get there this season. Casey and Mark and everybody else that's winning these things, they're just consistently really fast. But I love this place. It's probably my second favorite track behind Bristol, and I don't know. I just couldn't figure out 1 and 2 in this car. I'd sit there and watch everybody, put a couple tenths on me in 1 and 2, and then I'd gain like a tenth and a half back in 3 and 4, and then lose another couple tenths in 1 and 2. And I got to the point when we got real spread out. I was just trying stuff, and then I was putting it in the wall every other lap doing that. But I love this place. It's so much fun.
I kind of referenced you, I think, a couple of times, especially over in turn 2, where you were kind of having a little fun with the wall. I think you were trying to give it a few more inches of room, and it wouldn't work with you. But how hard is it, especially in this car, to hit the apex of that turn 2 area?
Probably not the best person to ask, because I obviously don't know where the impact is. But I mean, I felt like I was doing what I was wanting to do. Most every lap until I really started kind of trying some stuff. So I mean, I was able to put the car where I wanted to. It was just slow, and it was especially slow after about 20 laps, and I just couldn't figure it out. The throttle control, compared to the ARCA car, I feel like I really just kind of mashed the gas, especially going through 2 in the ARCA car, and I just didn't have that issue in that car last time we ran here. And I don't know if I was using too much throttle through the center of 1 and 2, not enough throttle through the center of 1 and 2 sometimes. I just couldn't figure it out.
That's totally okay, man. Well, congratulations, and send a shout out to whoever you'd like to, bud.
All right, shout out Chris and Brandon with 2511 teammates. Hopefully next week when we go to, I think it's Talladega, all of us will be there, and we can, work together like we usually do. My wife and some family members that I know are watching. Shout out to all of them. See Mama Heller in the chat over here. I pulled this thing up. Listen to Matt's interview. Casey, for running the league, does a great job, and he was super fast today. I mean, he had 6-7 lap older tires than me, and was lapping quicker than I was at the end of those runs. But congratulations to him. I always love to see him win, and then you for doing a great job on these podcasts.
Absolutely, man. Well, something tells me there's a little bit of maybe disappointment or anger driving coming out of Casey tonight. Not because he won or anything like that. Just, we'll call it outside of the race car type stuff. So we'll go find out if that's the truth or not. But nice job, Zach, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. You have a good night.
You too, man. Zach Henry finishing in the 2nd position, and let's see how he really feels here tonight. As Carrington goes to victory lane. Case, I heard you over the microphone say the old, "Well, I guess I fell in my lap" line.
I pulled a 1979 500 on their ass. I know you had to be thinking that when it happened with the paint scheme I was in.
Actually, I was looking more at the 2021 Southern 500, was it, when Truex and Chase took each other out in turn 1 leading?
Oh yeah.
That works too. I told Zach, I was like, maybe there's a little bit of anger in Casey driving tonight, because for reasons outside the race car, obviously we won't get into.
I mean, anybody watching the stream could see what it possibly could have been. But yeah. Hey, all it takes for me to win a Darlington race is, half of last week's field not to show up, and for the top 2 to wreck each other out in front of me. So, Hey, I'll take a win any way I can get it at this place.
Don't you love the sarcasm of this guy? Hey, it worked out though, man. Congratulations on that, and you're going to take the points lead back because of the bumper tag or slight netcode tag, if you will, in turn one. But man, talk about the car, because Zach just talked about how you were on older tires and you had that thing driving on rails. Was it just more of a rhythm of obviously with that long green flag run? I mean, what was the feel like?
Yeah, I think it was just one of those things. I mean, the track probably cooled down as the race went on. It definitely rubbered up. And, I feel like I felt the same way with Matthew. Maybe it was Whitley. I can't remember. At some point, yeah, it was Whitley. I feel like he was able to save better when he had somebody kind of to chase. Like in that first run, he saved really well. And in the second run, he kind of fell off a little bit. This is before Matthew got to him and all that happened. But I felt like it was opposite for me, where once I got out in kind of clean air and I didn't have somebody, I was racing for position right in front of me, I was able to kind of get into more of a rhythm and just kind of cruising. Also, I mean, I just, got more aggressive as the race went on, kind of settled in, became more comfortable putting the power down on exit, and that helped me balance the tires. I mean, I was burning, I think I was 60-80 on the right side every time, so 60 on the right front, 80 on the right rear, but it just, I feel like the track kind of came to me because, yeah, we were dog water, as they say, in the first run, and I mean, I hit the wall probably 5 times in that first fuel run, and yeah, man, I mean, I don't, I'd love to have seen how this race would have played out had everybody not had their issues, but hell, that's Darlington. I mean, it's like I told my guys in the team chat, if there's 3 goals coming in the night, keep it off the wall, keep it off another car, and keep it off another car. So I was, I guess, one of the top 3 or so that are able to do that, and yeah, hey, I'll take it any way I can get it. I mean, when we're talking about a guy that won 5 of the last 6, I'll take it when when he has a stumble, whether it was his fault or not, I don't really know, because I had the best view of the house of that incident, but I mean, that was just 2 guys, race-winning guys going for the lead there, and I don't know. Some people think you should pull over and let the faster guy by. Some people think that you need to race every lap like it's the last lap. It just kind of comes down to that. But like I said, I'll tell you, I don't know how I was able to get around him, because I felt like I was going to plow straight into him because it was in the middle of the corner waiting to run. But yeah, anyway, you still there?
I think so. Yeah. Well, no, it was fun to watch, obviously, and yeah, the things happened, and it worked out for you tonight to go to victory lane, and once again you continue your winning now. You never won until I showed up, so you're welcome. And yeah, so great job, and now you got a Darlington.
Well, I mean, hey, there was. Well, sorry to cut you off, but there was 3 tracks that if you'd asked me where I wanted to win at most before I ever won my first one, it would have been Nashville, my home track, Rockingham, and Darlington. So I guess I can retire now at the end of the season, and yeah, and then I won Texas, which is cool because I was the first Gen 4 oval race in the big ovals. But anyway, you had a broadcast thing you were about to do.
Yeah, I think, yeah, or something happened. But
you were saying something about you had the Talladega next week or something.
Oh yeah, you're going to Dega next week, so I mean, I guess.
Well, yeah, I'm probably gonna finish 30th there, so I mean, I had to get my points here to make up for that. I'll probably lead the first lap, then drop back to 30th, run there the whole race, and get wrecked trying to come back up to the field. So go back and clip that and play that in the broadcast next week, see how true it was. But yeah, man, I'm just relieved. I was beginning to think I wasn't gonna win this season. I mean, hell, even there, 50 laps or so into the race, I didn't, I was worried I wasn't even gonna get a podium tonight. So I'm gonna celebrate good.
I'm gonna leave the editing to you, because I'm not really good at the whole editing. The last time I tried to edit a video, I think it was the finish to one of the races earlier this season. I don't remember which league it was, if it was this one or one of the others, but I ended up putting like the whole wrong spot of the finish or whatever, like on social media. So yeah, I was bad. Yeah, I did worse than that. So anyways, send some shout outs to whoever you like to.
Shout out to all my teams: CX2 Racing, CX2
Squared,
CX2, Josh Dillon, Mike Husby, Cody McCorkle, though he can't race here anymore because of his work schedule. Nick Terrell is kind of our unofficial 5th member. Shout out to everybody that came out tonight.
He raced with a chip on his shoulder.
I especially appreciate people showing up tonight, obviously, for the small field. And with that, I think everybody that shows up and watches every broadcast, whether it's on demand or live, hope you're still able to enjoy it, even though it's kind of strung out. I put the Tate Lytle effect on him here. He pretty much had that same kind of race here in season 3 where he lapped almost the whole field. And yeah, like I said, I hope it was still an entertaining race for you to do, for the people to watch. And shout out to Mike Husby, everything he does with MHD sponsoring the league. Shout out to Kyle Hall. Shout out to Joseph for not being here. I hope he's freezing his ass off at Road Atlanta. And
it's like 50 degrees down there, according to my wife.
Well, yeah, I don't know. He spends most of his time in Florida nowadays, though, so he's probably
That's a good
freezing.
point. He's probably cold then.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just shout out to everybody, man. It's the first caution-free oval race in the week history. So,
Oh, there you
granted, it
go.
was also the smallest field we've ever had, but
Hey, something
glass half
gives.
empty, glass half full.
That's funny. Hey, a couple things I'll add to your stat line there that you just like to say there. First, you-
Hold on. I wanna jump the gun here.
okay.
Super shout out to Josh Dillon. He broke the unbreakable streak in All American tonight.
He lead a lap?
Finally, yeah, finally leading a lap.
Yes.
He had to go 10 laps, lost strategy to do it, but he finally led the lap, and he deserves a shout out for that. So
All right, I can go pay
now
the field
he is,
now.
yeah, he is no longer well, he still is the person with the most starts without leading a lap, but he's at least led a lap now. So
See,
I'm sure somebody's on their way to breaking that record.
it took me saying something. That was the difference. But all right, one thing. So it's Friday the 13th, as you know, and you're at Darlington. And I think the reason why you won this race tonight is because you're in your Halloween costume paint scheme.
Yeah, well, hey, when every scheme you run's a throwback, you got to throw it way back for a throwback race.
So we never thought we'd see a petty paint on a 9 car, even though technically the 9 was part
yeah,
of
the
petty at
RPM,
one point.
yeah, exactly.
Right, but it wasn't a Richard Petty
And
paint ever.
running the Ambrose font too.
That's true. And then number 2, the other 2 times this league is ran on Friday the 13th. Those 2 people aren't even in the league anymore.
I was gonna say I thought it was me winning it.
No. So, don't know what that means job-wise for the future.
Okay.
But, all right, I guess I'll be in the...
Hey, who's that sneaking into my room here? I might have to go here. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
Chucky. All right, man. You don't even know who he is, do you?
The doll.
Yes. Still, to this day.
Yeah, I don't think
creepiest...
after your failure to understand AI images, I don't think you can ask me if I don't know who
I
people
don't know
are.
what that... I don't even know... I still don't know what that was you posted her. I'm like, what? I don't get it. But anyways.
It's Captain Morgan with stuff flying over his head.
I like Captain Morgan. Anyways, all right. Yeah, we're digressing now. We're going to kill the rest
It's
of our
not
audience.
it's not just a game. It's iRacing.
The soundboard. That's why he does the editing. Anyways, all right. Good job, Case. Way to yeah. Apologies to the 6 viewers we have left. I was wrong. I thought he'd be a little more upset, but yeah. I think he realized it is what it is. Now, 20 drivers tonight, which, yeah, it was a low number. And a caution-free race. Josh Dillon led a lap. So, yeah, it all works itself out here tonight. So, congratulations to him on that. And, yeah, let's go to Talladega next week and go from there. So, enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Enjoy the weekend. And stay warm, as some areas are starting to get a little chilly in areas. So, this isn't just a game, as Casey played for you a second ago. It's iRacing. See ya!
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah.